to Vertical South. I'm John. Thanks so much for following along the series this far. If you made it all the way to V7, this is a video we weren't sure that we were going to make, but we're really happy to be doing it. So if you followed along this far, please make sure to go down to the bottom, hit the like and the subscribe button. It really encourages Nick and I to get creative and come up with new ideas about route setting and climbing in our adventures and things like that. So if you've been here this long, go ahead and hit the subscribe. Today we're going to set a V7 on this wall here. I've already taken the time to select my holds, which are all going to be these no shadow foot chips and then small single-handed crimps. A lot of these crimps are small enough that you can't match, so it's going to make it very difficult for someone to try and match and break the beta. So if my sequence is on grade with 7, I don't suspect that someone's going to break it and get out of sequence and find an easier way. So without too much further talking about it, I'm going to start getting some holes in the wall. We're a little bit before hours here, so we got a little time frame, but we should be able to beat the clock. So Nick and I just got done with a trip at Rocktown, and we climbed a lot of sit starts. Consequently, this whole set that we've just recently done, Nick and I have been setting sit starts. And then as I step up, I get an undercling. I can go out right, bring the foot up into this. Okay, ladder time. When you're wearing ladders, you should be wearing shoes. I don't know if I got that into frame. Wear ladders.
Never wear a ladder.
Oftentimes, especially if you have a jugged up top of the wall, like our wall up there is a complete rail, people will break the beta to get to the finish if you tape the top of the wall, because they can just jam up to the top and dunk it. So Nick and I really like to set finish holds. Now if you set a finish hold, you want it to be matchable. So I've decided to leave the best crimp, which is this super in-cut crimp, where you can get probably 3 fingers and 3 fingers for a good match for the top of the wall for my finish. So I'm going to put this one on reserve.
What are you doing up there, John?
So I had a bolt that didn't want to go into a T-nut. So I got my tap, and I'm just kind of cleaning out and recutting the threads on these T-nuts. Now between me finding the T-nut that was bad, going and getting the tap and coming back, I've forgotten which T-nut it is, but I remember the region, so I just kind of do them all. And hopefully for the next setter, it'll be an easier time too.
Team player.
Alright, so I've got my hand skeleton up, and now it's time to create difficulty with my foot placement and modulate how each move is going to feel versus how compressed my climber is, how stretched out, or how poor of a foot they may have, or good. None of them are going to be good. But, so let's move on to the feet. Even on more difficult climbs, I don't want a complete shutdown start. If they're a V7 climber who's climbing a V7, the start should still not be the hardest move in my personal setting style. So I'm actually going to use the best feet in the front, and the best feet to me have these little in-cut edges. So it'll probably be between these 2 feet or these 2 feet. And I think I'm going to save this foot for when I expect them to do the cross. as it's a pretty challenging foot to use, even though it does have a scoop. But it'll encourage them to put a really precise toe into that little pocket and then cross from that toe. And I think that that's just gonna be super cool, and it'll make the climber feel like clever and precise when they put their foot in there and it goes exactly as planned. Or they blow out and they, you know, skin their whole knee up, and that's fine too. I think that's too compressed. So from my start, you can see that starting with my hip on the wall like this kind of feels a little funny, and my knee's got like almost a 90-degree bend in it, which is going to be really helpful for driving me out this way, but not so helpful for driving me that way. So I think I'm going to change a little bit about this start. I don't want my climber to be dragging up a flat panel as much. This wall is almost 90 degrees. So a hip in start kind of makes them scrape up against the wall, which is not super, I mean, if you can avoid it, it's better. So let's see if I can find out something a little bit more clever to do.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, hopefully. I'm hoping it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
I think that I was gonna put a foot out here so you can start square. Another tough part about setting in this style at V7 is that personally I don't climb V7 on a day. Like V7 is, even in a gym for me, sometimes like a week-long experience if I even get it. So this is definitely an example of setting outside of your own expertise level. You'll see me fussing around with the holds a lot more. Everyone thought I was gonna say something different. Fussing around with the holds a lot more, trying to negotiate with them and see what it'd feel like if I really were to pull these up. Okay, so I decided where the foot needs to be, and this is the example that I was hoping to give. If we look at the wall right now, between the hold I'm interacting with, the foot that I'm using, and my target hold, I can draw a line down the wall. These two T-nuts are stacked up on each other and form a straight line. And then I can come all the way down to here, and then I have to create a swoop to get to this foot. Now, if this was a straight line, you can imagine that the cross is gonna be a lot more simple with the foot on the furthest side of the line, right? From the center of gravity across this line, the cross is actually gonna be more difficult because my leg is pushing me back this way. And then with the complete opposite, with my foot on this side of the line, if I can perch on it, it's actually gonna sling me into the cross and kind of create a barn door. That's something I always keep in mind when I'm trying to create a motion, is like, what is my target hold? What are the holds I'm interacting with? And if I were to create basically like a cabinet out of the points of contact, which way would that door naturally swing? Would it swing into the wall? Would it pivot out around the wall? And you can create a lot of difficulty and intrigue just by playing with like center of gravity, where someone's hips or shoulders are. And you can play with how the foot is gonna actually change the center of gravity and make the problem harder or easier. So I'm gonna actually move this foot in just a little bit to make the cross seem more natural. With the start being a little bit more engaging than I expected, and being more cramped close to the wall, kind of dragging, I am gonna elect to give them a bigger foot. This will be the biggest foot that they have on the problem. This is gonna allow them to toe in way harder and actually kind of get this back flag that I think is gonna happen that's very close to the ground. Unfortunately, I will have to use this chip somewhere else and not for the cross, but it'll get more people interacting with the problem, and that's really what I want by the end of the day. You know, if this turned out, hopefully it turns out to be a 7, but if it turned out to be a 7 that no one climbed, it's kind of a waste of space in my gym. So I would like to, at least if it hits a 6 or something like that, that gets people off the ground and they're climbing it and enjoying it. I'm gonna pull real hard and hit this, at which point I'm gonna be able to step, I should be able to step right up into this.
I want to give them
a foot, you think?
I was thinking If that's too hot, that's probably too high.
For the next move though, for sure, there's gotta be some feet over here.
You might want something.
Yeah, I'm thinking that I might put a foot like right here. So
That dish.
important feature about creating specific beta on harder problems, the reason I picked the no shadow chips or all these very tiny feet, is that they're always, very likely the climber's always going to elect to hit my crimp than they will try and pull on a foot chip. When climbers get stronger and stronger, the more they're able to just pull up on the most absurd things. And you said, oh, well, I didn't give them that much. And before you know it, they're breaking the beta because they're pulling on a foot chip, and that's not what you intended. It still is pretty fun, and the climber gets a lot of enjoyment out of like hacking your problem. So don't, if it happens to you, don't feel so bad like you've made a fatal error or anything like that. But a way that you can be sure is just make sure the quality of the feet are worse than all the hands that you have on there. And people will always flow like water towards the easiest solution.
Incentivize it.
Yeah, incentivize your hands. So I think it's done. The part I'm most nervous about as far as debuting it is the start. I think is gonna feel a little strange, and it's definitely gonna be a tough move, and it'll probably lighten up as you get further and further along. Now Nick and I are gonna do our best to forerun it. I don't know about Nick, but I just woke up, so my power levels are pretty low, but I'm gonna give it a good shot. And I think what we'll do is I'll take some Instagram footage of people climbing it. And if you want to check in on the beta and see how it's climbing, go to Vertical South TV on Instagram. The link will be in the description or something like that, or across the screen. And check in, and I'll hashtag it as the blue problem on wall 6. You should come check it out. Hashtag all one word. I'm just kidding. Check out our Instagram.
Hashtag.
Hashtag Instagram. I'm just kidding.
Alright.
Okay, so first forerun of the day. I'm thinking that's going to start with this back flag, or I'd like to think it's going to. So let's see if I can even pull the first move.
We'll see when I get on there with a small box.
Yeah, I was going to say, this actually feels a little cramped for me. Oh, oh yeah. First thing of the day. Come on. I am proud of the hands. I think the hands make good sense. I do think that this foot could be further back real quick. I'm not going to be able to do that first move, so I'm going to take it as if I had hit it. Okay. This is how forerunning on hard problems works. Now I'm going to take it as if I'd hit that move. Cross. Oh my God, that might be where it gets a little bit into a hiccup.
You need another hand?
Yeah, I think another hand would be definitely helpful. Just like something that's not very good.
Alright, it's wrong.
So I hit this hold and I wanted to match it. And like I said earlier, I'm trying to avoid too much matching on this problem. I was going to put a hold here, but I'm realizing that the T-nut is missing. So I'm actually going to replace this foot with the secondary hand I need to stabilize and walk my feet up with. But this is basically just a stabilization hand so we can walk our feet up. Yeah. So, okay. So, for all those noises, I'm definitely happy with the flow of how it's working. What did it look like from down here, Nick? Does it look like the feet are in the right spot? I'm thinking this foot maybe can go down.
It did. It looked like you're gonna have to bump your foot into that.
Into that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know. That might be a good height for me though. So.
Okay. So how about this? You want to give it a try? I'm pretty happy with the flow. My climbing instinct is telling me that the holds are in the right position. You know, this is the first thing I've climbed today, so I'm not doing it too much justice on the forerunning, but let's see what Nick can do. We'll see if it looks like it's logically going to flow. Probably debut it today and scare some of the younger climbers up it and see how they do.
John just kind of talked about this is both at our limit at the end, so I might not be able to pull. We're gonna see how far I get off the start, but then I'll just pull each move in isolation to see it, make sure it flows. Because you know, I project V7s. I don't think I've ever flashed one yet.
That's a good qualifier. Yet.
And you had your.
Yeah, I was doing like a back flag. Ooh.
I don't even know.
Oh, sick. Oh, dang, Nick.
I couldn't.
Not only do I think that's a V7, I think you could have flashed it.
Yeah. Those are all really. That's all tough in the beginning.
Dripping sweat.
There it is.
Dang, Nick, you're strong.
So if you wanted to tune it up a little bit, you could turn those so
Verticals.
you really have to be like, you don't have any down pull on it at all.
Nice. So Nick suggested a really easy edit that adds some artistic creativity to it. We're gonna take another hold and block one of these side pulls. That one up there above the ladder with another hold. I'm gonna use a Lone Star so I can put it right above the hold. This just allows me to use 2 screws so I can put the hold anywhere that I want. But you'll see once I get up there. Oh, that's dastardly, Nick. So we've essentially created a hooded crimp, and that's gonna add just a lot more accuracy and precision to our climber's almost final move. The only thing we have left to do is tape, but you've seen enough taping for a whole lifetime, so. If you enjoyed the videos, be sure to like and subscribe. Very happy that you stuck around to V7 and you saw us set this. If you haven't, check out the boxes that'll appear here soon, and check out the other V series where we set from 0 all the way up to 7. We also have like home climb wall setting. You can watch us flop around on the kilter board. We got it all, man. Check it out.